So what happened today? Tell us what's this about.
So today I went undefeated with White Forest. I think it's a very good deck. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have one more round. And I came in second. Um,
Even though you got undefeated, how does that happen?
People didn't want to play the last round. I technically got one tie and zero losses. The other guy went undefeated, so they just wrapped it up and called it a day. That's how it was. So
It is what it is.
Unfortunate.
Didn't want to play it out.
Could play that out, man. I feel like this deck can top.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people. I think minimum we should have played 5 rounds, but people just there was another locals that was happening right after, and they wanted to play that. I think.
Yeah, because our locals is pretty big. We have a 3 p.m. and a 7 p.m.
That's a live game here.
Live game.
All right, let's see it.
All right, so White Forest. So as standard, I'm just gonna gloss over these. These are the white. Oh, let me actually start off with this. This is actually a 43 card deck in total, and I'm gonna start with the mains, with the main bread and butter. So right here, the 3 Sylvies is standard. 3 LZ of the White Forest, 1 Rusia, 1 Esteller. And then you need only one of these, the Azamina LZ. The 1 search you need. The 2nd search, I only play 1 of the field spell because I like the idea of going into the Azamina play first and then using this as the final piece to lock my whole board so they can't destroy my White Forest monsters.
I see a lot of people playing 3, so because you're in the Azamina package, you only play 1.
No, they still play the Azamina package. I kind of get the understanding that people play 3 of these because they want to play lower to the ground. They don't want to get nibbed, so what they do is they summon the Diabell stars, do new Diabells as well as the Vengeance Diabells, and then they can just combo off from there on your opponent's turn. But I kind of want to make it a bigger play to kind of fish out what they have in their hand, and then once I get all the interactions done, I can still have the Diabell star as well as the Diabells level 8 on the field after they've done all of their interactions. So I think it's good, but I don't think I need 3 in this current combo, in this deck profile. So there's that. There's the White Force package. So now, of course, the standard, the Diabell star level 8, the new Diabells, and then the 2 kind of semi-bricks in here. I've heard some people have been using this to whiteboard. I didn't get a chance to do that, unfortunately, but it's still good. You basically technically want to get these 2 guys out. Extra additional attack. I sometimes don't do this because in case if I already comboed off and I summon twice from the extra deck, I don't want them to Typhon me. If they Typhon me, I cannot get these off because they become 3k attack. So I don't want them to, especially this, I don't want them to lock Diabell Star Vengeance, so I can summon out the new Poplar from the extra deck. So there's that. Okay. I've seen lots of lists that don't play this. I play the Toy Engine. I think this is great. This is actually also a starter. So let's say if you still open this and you didn't open any of the White Forest spells, White Forest monsters, you can still activate 1 to set, activate the other one to pop, or if you have a way to get into the new Diabell Star White Forest, you can still send your Toy Soldier to add as well as dump what you need. So there's a little combo right there.
So more combo heavy because you're playing the 1 field spell, so you can access more things.
More things. I want to basically bait out. This is to bait out a lot more interaction because if I plus off of this, it's harder to stop me because I'll have so many bodies, so much recursion that's happening, and lots of more materials to send for cost. So
not to mention their level 4 light stat combo with the Azamina, right, to make Chaos Angel. Saw you doing that a lot.
Yes, that's also part of the combos, and then going from there we have the 3 wanted, of course the wanted package, and the 1 Diabell star. This thing is pretty busted because you can always send it off and then send it off on their opponent's turn for tribute or whatever you need. Of course, I'll tell you the tech later. I do leave this as an end board piece, so there'll be a little combo later I can show you guys. And then resetting a new Sinful Spoils for additional follow-up in the next play is really strong, because you'll already get rid of some of their interactions. Okay, from here we go into the Azamina package. So we have the Hollowed and the Deception, the 1 Sinful Spoils White Force, because this is also searchable. I don't search this as much as I used to now because now I search the field spell because that's also an anti-nib line. So if they nib me or they nib me too late or too early, I still have a follow-up to use the field spell to add any missing piece of the White Forest monsters into hand and it's still combo off. So there's part of those. I do run 2 Sinful Spoils traps. This one right here. I do run the thrust package. This is thrustable as well as settable from the Diabell Star. I don't always set off with this. This is an Omni if I do end up being trolled.
What's it called?
Sinful Spoils Betrayal Silvera. It is an Omni, so you do need to tribute a Diabell Star, either from your hand or field, and you can target one card on your opponent's field to negate it.
DSC Ray at home.
Basic, kind of, but it still targets, unfortunately. And then right now, we also run the Morian. I think a lot of people are familiar with this. This is really good right now for the Mouse matchup as well as Ryziel. So you just book whatever they have and also resets from grave if you control a level 5. I believe it's a level 5 or higher illusion monster, and you can reset it, but it vanishes after the fact, after it's sent to the grave again. Okay, so that's it for the engine or the main deck. Now we're going to go into the non-engine. So of course, as standard, we have these 3 Drolls.
Anti-Mitsu.
Anti-Mitsu, Anti-Ryziel. The 3 Fulos. This does cook, I believe. You can use it on your own turn. If you know that your opponent likes to summon on your turn from the deck or whatever, let's say if it's Labyrinth, you can just keep it in hand, don't do anything with it, and then after that on your turn and your main turn you just activate it, and then you're kind of semi-insulated, so if they attempt to do like big welcome, you can still add into your hand.
So it's not always dead.
It's not always dead. You just really, it's more of a knowledge matchup.
If someone doesn't have Fua, do you have anything to recommend to put instead?
I do. That's in my side, and I'll show that in just a bit.
Perfect.
Okay, so we have, of course, the powerful 1-ups right here. So the cross out for basically either the Fua or the Droll. Called by, of course, specifically more for the Droll over the Fua because you literally cannot play if they Droll you. This, I never side out. I'll keep this in the main all the time. Reason being because we play the thrust package. So we run 3 thrust. Ideally, you want to open with this because it's also a board breaker as well as a starter, because you can also thrust for your Tales of White Forest because it's a regular spell. So let's say on your opponent's turn, you already got rid of their interaction. You can then thrust for the last piece of combo material, which is Tails, and you can go off the races.
Why do you main deck this? I see a lot of people siding the thrust. Why do you main the thrust?
Main thrust, meaning because I unfortunately do not own Perulia. So if I did own Perulia, I'd probably be playing these in the side because, of course, if you have the 6 Charmies, then you would be running those, of course. And then who cares about Ash? Ash is just only one interaction. Okay, you Ash my one Perulia. Okay, now I do Fuelos, or the vice versa. So this, because a lot of people are now activating Charmies, this is always live. Like, they want to basically skip your turn. So in that case, if they try to skip your turn, you skip the turn back. And how I do that is that I run one Blackout Lapse. If you know exactly what they're playing, you just call their main combo so they can't summon that card. Or if this is, or you can somehow send it to your grave using your White Forest cards, then you can cannot activate their monster effect.
You can also set it to with the thrust, right? So they can summon whatever it is. So if you scared of Detonator, you just call Detonator.
Yes. Okay, and then the final piece of the thrust package is that I run 1 deck Devastation Virus. Yes, this is a very spicy deck I decided to run, is because I find that it does hit all of the mouse names. So let's say if you go first and you're able to have thrust as well as a Diabell Star or Wanted in your hand, you can literally get this for free because they'll try and do something, let's say Droll you or Charm you somehow, and you have thrust in your hand, you activate it, set it on the field, and you'll have Diabell Star. You can still on their turn just pass it back, activate this tribute, and then you set a new Sinful Spoils off the Diabell after it comes back, and you already blow up their hand. Every single time they want to draw to, like, let's say a lure, they draw into 2. We see the 2. If it's less than 1500 attack, they get popped. So it doesn't matter. They can't plus off of this. It's basically immediate win con if we get this off. There's that.
Does it hit the adding Nister stuff?
The adding Nister. I don't remember actually. Let me double check. But then, if of course, if they're less than 1,500, it's gone.
That's good. Let's see the extra.
Most importantly, you don't really care about the Administer if you already can hit the mouse names because they'll be in the banish. In the grave, unless they have the, I guess, the extender, which is the Bestials. But I've noticed a lot of mouse players are now not playing the Bestials, so it's kind of harder to get more comboing off if they don't have the mouse names. So, yeah, I think hitting their main names is very important. All right, so let's go into now the extra deck. The extra deck right here, you have to play, which is of course the Diabell Synchro, the Searcher, as well as the book. The new edition, of course, the Poplar. Because I play the Toy Engine, I play Synchro 8s. For going first, I decided to run Sideframe Omega because I run a lot of 1-ofs. And I technically banish a couple things to actually get my get extra bonuses, such as Wanted, or like, let's say, Diabell Star Vengeance have to banish 2, 1 spell, 1 trap, and I didn't want to use the, or I didn't have access to a my Diabell, Phila Diabell, then I can always send back what is banished into my grave, so it's live again, and also hand rip them for 1 turn, and it comes back, and I just do it again. The going second tech would be Scarlight, because you just want to blow up their board, get rid of it, gain life points. No, sorry, it would. It just inflicts damage, 500 per special summon. My bad. No.
You're not poning people in time, are you?
It can be a time card. It can be a time card, but it's not. It's okay. It didn't come out this round, but I thought it would be a good tech just to protect myself from time, because a lot of decks right now are all combo, especially White Forest. We combo so long. If you play this deck, you'll totally understand. And then for standard, you have also the Chaos Angel, the Snake Eye Vengeance Dragon. It is good. You just push one of their monsters in the back row, and then you can pop one on their battle phase, and their back one continuous spell. The Spice I decided to run because we can make level 11s. I decided to run Psychic and Punisher. Because a lot of decks right now just don't have outs to towers.
What does it do? A lot of people might not have seen this card. What does Psychic End Punisher do?
So Psychic End Punisher becomes an unaffected monster by your unaffected activated effects by your opponent, as long as you have lower life points. So because you do have to pay half your life points by some activating Vengeance and to pop one on their end to special, as well as special summoning a Synchro Tuner, as long as you control another Diabell monster, it will automatically fulfill the requirement to make it into a tower. And then and you'll be making it on their turn. So let's say if they end up like doing something and then you pop their card, you still make this, you cannot out it. They decide to go into battle trying to get rid of some of your cards. If they enter battle, on the enter of the battle, it'll gain the difference between your life points. So it'll gain additional 4k attack. So it becomes 7,500 attack. And then it's really hard to get rid of. And then on my battle phase, I'll also add additional 4k.
Wait, it doesn't just gain the one time? It just gains every battle phase, the difference in your life points?
Only the beginning. So you have to remember to call it. So if you don't call it, you're not going to get the game. And ideally, you want to lower your life points even more, because it does have the additional effect where you can target one of your monsters and their monsters. You banish yours and theirs, and you lose 1,000. So you can make that difference even bigger. It is a pretty strong card. I don't think there's a lot of players who have towers outs right now. I mean, there are people playing the Azamina card, the new fusion. I decided not to play that because it's technically a win more, because you have to go into tributing the Saint Azamina and then to summon the Azamina, and then ideally you will have probably Moa Regina to summon back Saint, so you have the full 3 monsters on the board. It's just kind of harder to pull off, but this one right here, you just summon it and it becomes a body that cannot be like beaten over or affected by your opponent's activated card effects. Yeah, it's immediate win con if they can't get it out. Okay. Now we're going into the fusions. We're going to play the one Guardian Chimera. The Guardian Chimera was usually made with the Sinful Spoils White Forest card. If you end up getting drolled, you can always make this pop 2 and draw 2 on their turn, which depends on where you're going to be tributing from, either the hand or the field. So yeah, this is not a bad tech. I think I didn't used to play it, but it's good. And then we have the chorizo. The chorizo is good. I don't like to make it because it just means that you open in a very bad hand that you have to go into Mu Riciago and also contact fuse with the level 7 Diabels to make this, so you can have the level 4 to go into Rusilla. You really sacrifice a lot of your cards just to get into this kind of play. So I don't like going into this line unless I really have to, and I didn't open anything good. It doesn't come up often, but then if it does, this does save your life if they don't have any interactions. It is easy to stop this line, and you'll lose more resources along the way. So of course, Asmina line. So we have these guys right here, as I spoke about earlier. I do play most of the package. Saint, I would like to make it more. It does stop a lot of Malice again because they do need to target their own cards to activate their effects. So let's say Heart's Cryptor, they have to target one of their cards to shuffle back from the banish in order to non-target banish your board. I made this the most, Illa Silva, because you tribute it for cost to negate, and it's hard to stop because unless they have Called by the Grave. These I don't usually make if I can. This is a win more condition. So let's say if I can make Saint and then summon this off of Saint, I probably already have Illa Silva in the graveyard, so I can summon it back. So I have a recurring Omni Negate that happens every single time. And this is also a double pop if I decide to activate a Sinful Spoils or Asmina card. This is pretty standard. Okay.
So that's the extra.
That is the extra, yeah. Okay. Let's go into the side deck option. As you notice, I already do not run Ash. I'll explain why later. I also do not run Ash in the... I do not run Ash in the main as well as not in the side. And I'll explain that in a bit. Okay, so starting off, we do have more thrust targets. So of course the one Duster, one Raigeki, and then one Simple Spoils Snake Eye. This is pretty strong. You can also search this off of your Sinful Spoils combo if you need it to combo off, and then just get rid of a problematic monster card. The Raigeki is pretty straightforward, as well as the Harpy's Feather Duster. Yes, the Raigeki technically not great into, let's say, Detonator, but there are a lot of rogue strategies because of the current format. Because it just gives a better cover basis. Because let's say even Malice doesn't even have. If they make a half board, they don't have an Omni Negate, you can still Raigeki and blow up their board.
And if you can back it up with your Illa Silva, it's crazy.
It's over. Like, they can't come back from that. They have to use their effect of White Binder to bash.
So that's why you main deck the Thrust, so you can have more space in the side for more silver bullets.
Yes.
It's nice.
All right. Another Thrust target, we have the Mystery of the Gnomes. This is for the Mitsurugi and Ryzeal players. It is just to make sure that they don't exceed summon, or they cannot tribute for cost for the Mitsurugi part of their deck. Pretty standard.
Did it come up today? You played against quite a bit of Mitsurugi Ryzeal.
I did play against one, but I unfortunately wasn't able to get to that line. But I did end up using this deck Devastation of Virus against them. It did pop their Ixt and Ice, I think, because as long as they have 1500 or less, it does get rid of it, but then they will combo off with the Mitsurugi part to get to Duo Drive, unfortunately. It is not that great into Mitsurugi, but it's great against Malice. Not that I'm trying to hate on Malice, there's a lot of anti-Malice tech here, but it's just kind of a crossfire, because I find that a lot of the good decks right now also have a lot of low attack monsters in their main, and we're in a very meta where a lot of decks do play a lot of low attack monsters, so this just covers a lot of bases. Okay. The interchange part is the Erad, so if there is a rogue, let's say if there's a Labyrinth or a Sky Striker deck, this usually would help as well, because I can also still tribute this off of Diabellstar, because Diabellstar is 25, and then 25 Dark. So this is also
kill Odeon, kill Pearly.
Yeah, immediate out. to
Rogue
those.
killer. That's the rogue
It's literally
killer.
rogue killers. So I wouldn't main this. I thought about maining it because it does have a technically bigger spread, but in a lot of the meta decks are all monsters. So doing the deck devastation, maining it is better than running Erad right now. All right, and then yes, more Malice Hate, unfortunately. Because it's just a deck that's so hard to stop. We have to run the 1 Artifact Sanct as well as the 3 Lancias. From here, we have, now this is spicy tech. Now we're going to be doing, okay, we're back. Sorry, there was a bit of noise, so we wanted to pause it to resume. Okay, so the next tech I was just going to be talking about is Dogwood. Dogwood is a crazy card right now. Reason being is because we do play on time, and then because a lot of people are now playing combo, as well as White Forest. White Forest combos forever. This comes up quite often, so they will combo. There's only 15 minutes on the clock. You'll spooky them. You'll have a lot of life points you're going to gain from their combo, and then either they give you the life points or they pass it back to you and they'll get killed by you. So playing around with these time rules is very important if you want to win in time specifically. I don't like the idea of winning time. I wish that the rules weren't like this, so I don't have to run it. But unfortunately, this is more of a budget-friendly option for if you do not own the other set of Purilias, because I only run the Fuas because of the reprint. The other card for going first that's paired with this is Share Ride. Share Ride is more like technically a balls to walls format, because everybody is now adding from deck to hand. So if you go first, you'll have these in your deck. If you open with these, this is great. So let's say they droll you, you will add everything they add. Whenever they add, you'll add, as well as gain life points when they special summon. So effectively, this becomes like almost like a max C combo. So they cannot kill you on the crap back. So you'll have enough cards in your hand. It doesn't tell you to even shuffle back either with Share Ride. Pretty strong card. Technically, I would say we're in a lingering floodgate format, so this is kind of the same idea of what Charmies does, but in not as good technically. So it's only good as long as we get closer to the end of the match. The more shorter the time, the stronger this card becomes. So again, just like that, I also play this. This is also a not turn skip, but lingering effect card. Deck Virus, as well as the Erad. Mischief the Gnomes, technically a lingering effect, also for basically 2 turns. You activate on once and then you banish it again. Yeah, Artifact Lancey just blanks turns. Like you can see in the current trend of the meta, it's just turn skips after turn skips. So in that sense, you just basically want to turn skip their turn so you can live long enough to play. Because White Force does have a lot of engine. It can break boards, it can combo quite well and stop plays, change plays. Very versatile deck, which is why I decided to run this package. I did not want to run Ash because a lot of the top decks now have like 6 Charmies, especially if they have the money to get it. So let's say you have Ash, you're going first. You're going to Ash their first Charmy. Okay, that's fine. They change their second one. So you're still under a Charmy, which sucks. So it really limits your play. So you want to make sure that you're not going to die on your turn. You want to, if you open this, you're not going to die. You want to make sure that when they summon to stuff to break your board, your minimal board, you're going to gain life points. And if they add, you'll also add. So in a sense,
and it also works from grave too, right? It's not just from deck. Shared Ride, if they add from grave back to hand, you also draw one.
Yes, I will also draw one. So
that's
crazy. It's technically, yes, a 2-card combo, but if you open any one of these, it does make a player double check if they want to keep going to play, because who knows? They don't know if I'm running them or not. They don't know how many hand traps I'm running. They also don't know what my engine is capable after I get all that pieces. So it is good. I don't like the idea of just only running Ash because it's only 1 turn interaction. If you're not playing the darks, then you can play the impulses. Sorry, not the impulses, the purge. But unfortunately, we can't do that, so we have to run these instead.
So what you're saying is going first, you put in the Shared Ride and the Dogwood, and then going second, you only put in the Dogwood?
Yes.
Do you put in Dogwood going first and going second?
going first and going second, I only side it in during games again, just because as time goes by, dogwoods just get stronger. You just want to make sure you don't die too fast, because they do have a lot of interactions your opponent's going to make that will out resource what you have in hand. So you want to make sure that you have enough to not die even after you comboed, and let's say you didn't make a big enough board, you still have enough life points to live to the next turn, because they won't have put out enough damage, especially with this current format of floodgates and comboing.
And they're super big bodies, so even if you put up your board, they have to summon to break your board. So if you dogwood them and there's 15 minutes left on the clock without slow playing, like, not saying you should slow play, you should never slow play, but playing at a normal, reasonable pace, Malice and Ryzel take up to 7 minutes per combo. The game's over.
Yeah, the game's over.
The game's over. They can't kill you while you're gaining life point. And if they pass it back to you, your engine is so good you can break it.
Yeah, it's quite... it would almost, I would say, Konami would ban it. I hope they don't. But because it's just a better friendly budget for budget players. I think it's a great card. It should technically still be paired with something. So if you have this, ideally you do want to run more hand traps, but it's more of a chicken game in a way. So like if you activate this, they might think twice in order to not play into a full board. So they make a half board, they don't kill you, and you still live. You just need to wait for the next turn to get more recursion and play your game again.
Gotcha. I recommend you guys try it at home. Try the dogwood. It's really cheap. You'll see your opponent sweat really hard. All right, let's do some combo videos. And we're back with some combos. What is the first thing you're going to show us?
Okay, so I want to show you that Triple Tactics Thrust is a crazy card, and people should be maining it, and I'll show you the reason why. So because you do run the 3 wanted as well as Diabell, either way you'll always want it to get Diabell on your draw phase, so you don't get yourself drolled. And then you want to have Thrust in hand. That's why I run 3. So let's say they shotgun Fua or I guess Perulia. So minimally they get 1 draw if it's off Perulia, but you don't have to think about the Fuelos. So if you have, of course, you'll have 3 other cards in hand. You'll send one of them for cost, see if you can plus off of it, because then we do have a lot of like discard stuff to summon. I usually like to summon my Diabell Star in defense position just in case they have, like, let's say Lightning Storm or some way to kill this too early. And then if they already threw it on my turn, I will activate Thrust. Thrust will be setting Deck Devastation Virus. So then it becomes a 3-turn floodgate. So let's say if they decide to basically floodgate me, I'm going to floodgate them back. And then this will also get rid of the follow-up hand traps in their hand, because all of the hand traps have really low attack, and it'll just pop all of them in the hand. So what I will do is that I will set this. I'll set the Deck Devastation off of the Thrust. This, of course, Black Witch will also set something, let's say the Silvera. So we also have a follow-up off of that. So this is an Omni Negate as well as the Deck Devastation. So on their turn, what you're going to do is that usually I like to do the Deck Devastation first. So what I would do is I will tribute on their draw phase if they didn't have any interaction first, because they're turn player priority. Tribute for cost, and then Deck Dev will resolve, and then we'll look at their hand. If they have any hand traps or what they're playing, they'll be all popped into the grave. And then New Chain. Unfortunately, if you do have something else to send, that'll be best. Hopefully you don't have to send this. So you send an extra card in your hand so you can summon this back, and then you set another wanted or like follow up into your spell trap zone. So
could be like a deception
or wanted, so you can get more card advantage. Because if they do have any more follow-ups after that, you still have this as an Omni Negate, so they can still target and negate whatever spell or trap they still have left in their hand if they decide to activate it. Yeah, so it turn skips them 3 times. It's pretty good. And then you'll combo off afterwards.
So like, let's say you're playing against Mitsurugi Ryzel and you somehow pop the Ryzels in their hand and you summon back Diabell. Even if they went Mitsurugi Ritual, you have an Omni Negate for Mitsurugi Ritual and you're good.
Yes, unless they do happen to open well enough, which actually did happen. They did combo off. It is not a foolproof thing against Mitsurugi as well as Ryzel. It's just that they are the best deck. They have so much recursion and easy ways to get into the other engine. It is just, I feel, is the best play because you can still out all of their hand traps in hand, and you have a higher chance of playing more if you have follow-up in your hand as well. I didn't like the idea of having Ash. It's like, okay, Ash won, and then they still have another Fuelos, or sorry, another Perulia. So this is combo 1. Okay, the second combo I want to talk about is that what if you open Diabellstar but you don't have Thrust, okay? So you have Diabellstar. What you're going to do is that you're probably going to want to get Deception because you want to make sure that you have an Omnigate so you can combo off. So you don't want to ever add to hand unless you have... the first add to hand should definitely be Hollows. And you want to set summon Diabellstar, sending whatever you have in hand to get Deception. Ideally, if you do have the Diabellstar, you can also send either the Toy Soldier or Toy Tank. You want to send the Toy Tank over the Toy Soldier. Reason being is that it doesn't add when it's summoned, so you get an extra body. So if you want, you can still end up tributing this for cost, and then you can still add Hollows. And then after Hollows, they will try and droll you. So then you activate Hollows. Hopefully you have some other follow-up in your hand later on. To prevent yourself from dying. Ideally, if you have the field spell as well. And then you'll summon your Illa Silva in defense. So there you have an Omni Negate to work with. That's another line if you decide to, if the opponent has a droll. Of course, if you have the cross out is great. If you have the call by is also great. But these are also like a lower seat, I guess, playing lower to the ground. If you have also the Diabells level 8, getting out the Vengeance also pretty helpful if you could, if your hand is well enough. If you have a trap or the spell to also banish, to summon Vengeance. Yeah, I think...
So you're just, like, if they hand trap you, you're playing Diabellstar control. You're playing Black Witch Turbo.
It is basically Black Witch Turbo, because then it's just that good. I mean, I almost thought about sometimes running 3, but technically 1 is enough. Because the reason why, again, I do run the Sai end frame to also get this back online if I ever need it. So if, let's say, this gets Bestialed, hopefully, in some way or form, we can get into this. This will just send it back in the grave on their standby, and then on their main phase, I'm just going to rip one from their hand. So that's my contingency plan if any of my cards get banished. So I can just add back a key piece of interaction or combo piece I need. Yeah.
We're back. So what's the third combo you want to show us?
So the third combo is a nib line that I want to show. Basically, why I only run one Witch of the White Forest field spell. Because it is a contingency plan if they do end up trying to nib you midway through the combo, or if they already try to nib you on the end of the combo, it's already too late, because you will have Illa Silva as the Omni Negate to stop them. They have to open an Imperm nib just to stop it, or else they can't play through it. Okay, so let's go from here. So as standard, you're probably going to go, if you didn't already have Sylvie, you're probably using this to search Sylvie, and then on Sylvie summon, you're going to have to add the Tails, the first part of the combo, and then you're going to synchro these two into Rusilla. And then from here, I specifically always add Witch of the White Forest, because this is a follow-up from here, because this will be in your hand, and then you'll activate this to add the next combo piece, LZ of the Azamina, for your going into the Sinful Spoil play. And then from here you go into the 8 as standard. Just because you can go into this, you already have the Wanted Package Live, and you can also get the Diabellstar to set the Deception, and you full combo from there. If they do nib you while you have these guys in the field, let's say the 5th summon.
The 5th summon will be the level 8 synchro.
The 5th summon would always be the level 8 synchro. Okay, from here, they end up giving us a rock. Let's say they give us a rock, because we already have this. We already targeted to add, let's say, something from grave. I don't know. Let's say we had to add Thrust from grave, and we just add it back to your hand. You already have other cards in hand, as well as the Diabellstar is now a token. From here, because you do have this, now you can activate this and then now you can go into your Diabell star line, because then you're gonna have enough send fodder now, because you'll have the added back spell trap, whatever you have. I'm sure you're gonna have something, and then you're gonna combo off by sending off. Sorry, I lost my Diabell stars. There it is. You're gonna add this, and then you're gonna send whatever you add back as cost. Summon this back. You want to dump always this, and then you'll add this. Add the Phila Diabell off the trap, which will always get you Vengeance, and you can always end on Vengeance with Witch, Diabell's Witch.
So what you're saying is you use the level 8 Diabell Star to essentially, this is where they nib, right? But you will always have the field spell off the LZ.
Off the Ricilla.
Oh, off the Ricilla.
Because then you're going to send for... Because then you're always going to search... This is a White Force card. You always add this off of this, because this becomes a 1-card starter to get into your Diabell star line.
So this, you always hold this then, because it locks you into light monsters only, right?
Yes. But if I don't do this, I'll have this in hand. And as you saw, because we have access to the LZ Azamina, we'll always get into access into Illa Silva. So I'll have Illa Silva at one point. Even if they end, if I got this in hand, it doesn't matter. They can nib at any moment after I have this. But once I have this and this, yeah, it's pretty much a full combo. They cannot stop it unless they do imperm nib. Of course, if they have imperm nib, you imperm this, and yeah, they nib you, and you might be cooked at that point. But it's more likely than not they don't have both, unless they do have the Fua.
If they open it, they open it.
If they have to open it, then open it. But if they have to Fua to search for it usually, because right now a lot of people are running only double nib and 3 imperm, and that's not enough right now. So if I have the feeling if they Fua me, I'll always play low to the ground like the other 2 combos. I would not go full combo like this. This is only the time when they have no draw and they didn't Fua you or give you any charmies for that fact.
So this field spell is really just a contingency then. It's not a combo piece, which is why you only run the 1.
Yes. I know that a lot of people are running 3 because they literally just want to get these girls out. Yes, that's fair, because a lot of times a lot of charmies are in the way, but this is just the rest of the combo is literally just to get rid of all the interactions they have in hand, kind of fish for information. And once you've gotten the information, this is basically your end board. Like, it's just getting to the original end board that most people like to go to, but a little bit long way around, just so I can get more information of what they're playing and how they're playing their deck.
All right. That's a great deck profile. What were your matches like today? What did you play against?
So my first round was Mitsurugi Raziel. It was, as I said, a long match because a lot of people are comboing. So then again, yes, the Dogwood, I did side into Dogwood and stuff. It didn't come up, but then the Drolls definitely helped to stop them from full comboing into their main combo, the Unbreakable board. This definitely does save my life. There were time contingencies, which is why I won that specific match. I think I could have still played through because I did break their board in the very end, and they ended up scooping. The second match I played against Lab, for funny enough. So of course the first one that I tried to do was Deck Devastation, but it didn't really work that well because they do not do a lot of monsters. But if I already activated Deck Devastation, they'll chain Stogie Torby in their hand or Chandrangler to set a big big welcome or regular welcome into play. So of course I would always side this out for the Erad. This one really cooked because then once I called traps, they couldn't basically play the game because every single time they draw for a turn, they will just pop their hand for what they set. The third match I played against an interesting brew of a evil live twin with Sprite and Runic. Unfortunately, the guy I was playing with didn't make a full board, so I was able to still stop him with... I basically let them full combo, and I broke his board with Engine. And then... Yeah.
I'm just going to say, like, that feels like the prerequisite for, like, a good deck nowadays is your Engine doubles as board breaking as well as putting up, insane interaction.
Yeah, I just had a talk as well with my brother. He does say that in order to make a tier deck nowadays days, we do both feel that if you do not have a deck that FTKs going first, if you can full combo and then you cannot FTK them, it is not a tier deck. You're basically rogue. If you can FTK, you have a higher chance of winning and playing the game in this current format. It's just a prerequisite. If you don't have it, you can't really call yourself a tier deck.
By FTK, you mean like unbreakable board, right?
Yeah, unbreakable board. You just have more interactions than they have in their hand, which is why I see that yes, Fua and the Charmies are really important. But yeah, if you can't make that as a bare minimum without being interrupted, even with the I guess minor inconvenience interruptions such as imperm or ash, if you can't play through even those, I don't think it can be a tiered strategy. So which is why I feel like White Forest is very versatile. A lot of player expression. I feel a lot of lists. I've looked through a lot of lists. None of them were really the same. There are similar text here and there, but I felt like running only, for me at least, only running one field spell was the right call for me just because I'm playing a toy box engine.
All right. Thank you so much for the deck profile. Congratulations on your undefeated. Too bad people didn't want to play it out.
Yeah.
Did you pull anything good from your packs?
No, unfortunately not.
No, rip.
But it is what it is. I had fun. I think this is the best, most fun I say with Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually came back like just last year, so lots to learn, lots about like links, synchro summoning, exceed summoning, pendulum summoning. But I digress. It's just it's fun. I think this format is pretty good, pretty diverse, just because of the new tech that non-engine that people can run.
All right, thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you know of the deck profile in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.